Now, as UK and US troops flee Afghanistan in the dead of night and the US embassy comes under drone attack in Baghdad after Joe Biden's airstrikes on Syria and Iraq, another former imperial Western colony is being debated today at the UN. This after a military coup in Burma. There's been mass displacement, killing and wounding, and what now for Aung San Suu Kyi, detained for a decade and a half, released, then accused of aiding genocide, and now fighting corruption charges in a region critical to Western oil supplies. Joining me now from Nay Pi Waiaitar is Aung San's lawyer, Yukin Mongzor. Thank you so much, Yukin, for coming on the show. What's it like representing Aung San Suu Kyi, given your family's historic support for the communist insurgency that liberated Myanmar after Aung San's father was assassinated, maybe on the orders of Clement Attlee? People probably don't know about that history in Britain. What's it like representing such a famous politician?
Firstly, I have to remind you that my father was an old comrade of the Aung San Suu Kyi's father, General Aung San, because General Aung San was a founder of the Communist Party of Burma in 1938. My father was a Communist Party member. So
there's that historic background to it. I mean, I don't want to go too far back, but since it was the 73rd anniversary, it's 73rd anniversary of the National Health Service here in Britain. Clement Attlee is lauded by the left here. Just quickly, who did kill your client's father? Was it Churchill?
On record, Usaw.
But there were British weapons used famously. Yes. I mean, you know about prison conditions in Myanmar. What's the condition of Aung San Suu Kyi in detention? Have you even been able to speak to her? I mean, you know about jail and hunger strike, after all.
Yes. The Aung San Suu Kyi's condition is much better than our condition when we were as prisoners. But according to her standard, she is now in a very distressed condition.
Is she in fear of her life?
Not that much, but she doesn't have any access to the public information. She cannot meet any other person apart from the lawyers whom she has to meet weekly for 30 minutes.
So it's mental torture. She doesn't claim she's been tortured. She doesn't claim she's been physically tortured.
Not physically tortured.
Now, she's charged with corruption. She's charged with flouting COVID restrictions, using a walkie-talkie, also being against the Official Secrets Act. What do you make of these charges?
For the law under COVID restrictions for spreading dissension against the government like this. For those charges, she is now on trial. But for the charges of bribery and corruption, she is not on trial because that charge was only under investigation.
A lot of people saying this is much more than just about Aung San Suu Kyi. This is about geopolitics. You're defending her, but and there was an interview with you in the New York Times. Why do you think there isn't much news about Aung San Suu Kyi in international Western media anymore? We had Ari Ben Menashe, who's been hired by the Burmese government to lobby for them in the West. He actually came on to talk about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. But there are clearly people trying to lobby the media in the West. Do you see, are you surprised that there is not more attention in the West to this case?
Yeah, that's not completely true. Because on the 1st of July, the IBAHRI, that means International Bar Association's Human Rights Institute, has issued a statement saying that it formed a watch group of prominent lawyers to watch the case of Aung San Suu Kyi and President U Win Myint.
Because, of course, in NATO countries which did support her freedom, they accuse her of facilitating genocide of the Rohingya Muslims. People say she should be on trial for that, not these things.
I have stood in a position against her on this issue because I have stood for the defendants, the Warlone and Joshua U, who exposed the massacre of Rohingya people. Even up to now, she, on concerning with the Rohingya, I haven't discussed about this issue with her, but her organization, her party, has stood somewhat differently than the former position.
So how does this military survive? How is it interlinked, would you say, to transnational capitalism? After all, Singapore is the biggest foreign investor. I mean, who is funding this government that are bringing these charges against your client?
The military government has always used up natural resources to build up the military powers and military establishments by selling the natural resources, especially to the neighbor country China.
Now, the Chinese ambassador to Myanmar said it's absolutely not what China wants to see, the detention of your client. In NATO countries, a quarter of the world's oil maybe passes through the Straits of Malacca in the south of Myanmar. How will this play with the charges against Aung San Suu Kyi?
Aung San Suu Kyi, by looking at the stability of the country, she took the conciliatory line, stand with the military top bosses. That's the mistake she had made. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, what went wrong? I mean, she was accused of being too close to the military. Should she somehow get closer to China, which will presumably be Myanmar's future biggest trading partner?
I don't think Aung San Suu Kyi looked at China as the main trading partner because she didn't give any more favorable class status to China other than the other countries like this.
When do you think she will be free?
That I cannot say for sure. If she is convicted of all those charges and the punishments are set on her consecutively, all those punishments amounts to at least 40 or 50 years. So she will not be free in a lifetime.
Yukin Mansour, thank you. And that's it for the show. We'll be back on Saturday to talk sport, nationalism and class ahead of the final of the Euro 2020 Football Championship and what would have been the birthday of one of the 21st century's greatest political thinkers, Mark Fisher. Until then, keep in touch via social media, subscribe to the channel on YouTube and let us know whether you think Aung San Suu Kyi should be free. Thanks for watching this Going Underground interview. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on to never miss an interview. Now it's your turn. Tell us what you think by commenting below and getting in touch via our social media. See you next time. All that is solid melts into air.